Hello Stampers, this is Sheila. Welcome to my studio. Today we're going to do watercoloring, so that's what we're going to really focus on more than the card itself. This is one that I did using the Magnolia, and I don't know if you can tell, but I used the the new shimmery black embossing powder, and it just catches the light so beautifully. And so we're going to do one today, a little bit different, but still the technique of watercoloring, which I'm going to be focusing with you on. So the stamps I decided to do with the Magnolia Blooms, this one is the one that comes from our new Experience Creativity for people that are maybe starting out or are wanting several of their items that they can in one little package that they can make cards with. And I'm just loving this new quick and easy coordination of stamp sets, and this is the one I'm going to use today. Absolutely love this. I made up some of the cards and had it on one of my videos recently, and the fact that you get all of these, which I'm gradually through my paper pumpkin and also through some of these collecting all of my little spots. And so that way when you're using Stamparatus or something on the small side, these come out real nice to be able to use them as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be combining, because I need a good well card, and so I'm going to combine these two flowers into the watercolor paper here. I'm not real sure how I'm going to do it yet, because like I said, I'm kind of doing this one off the fly. Then I want to use this as a background stamp just on the back here, and I just noticed I don't have my Sierra Sand out with me, but I'll get that real quick in a second. And then I want to do, let's see, yeah, we're going to do this as the background, and this is the one I did with my other. And so I can either use this hello, I haven't decided if I'm going to use the hello here, and then one in here that says sending healing thoughts your way, and I think that's what we might do there. Just say hello and then sending healing thoughts your way would be just about right for that. I think we'll try and incorporate some of the ribbon, the Sierra Sand ribbon here. I just love this, so we're going to incorporate some of that. Like I said, we're going to stamp up that and do it. So let's go ahead and get started with this is the watercolor paper, and I've got it cut at 2.5 by 3.5. Okay. And then I used our rectangle stitch framelits, which this one measures out 4.25 by 3. And so that'll fit just right in here, like I'm showing it here. So we'll put that in there. And then this is your 4.25 by 11 and scored at 5.5. And then we have a 4 by 5.25 inside piece. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's stamp first. Okay, and let's pull this out. And these particular stamps are in our photopolymer. Beautiful, beautiful Magnolia for it. You can tell they're new. Not one to peel off there real easily there. Okay, so if I were to set this one there and perhaps the smaller one and something like this, and let's see if I like that one, or maybe we do something just kind of off this way. Well, I kind of like that idea. So let's go ahead. I'm going to take, and I'm not sure if I want to, let's see if we can do this. Bring it together and Versamark it all at one time. See if we can do that. Let's bring this. Is that going to be wide enough? Maybe not. I think we have better luck with this one here. Okay. So let's go ahead and get all of my preparation stuff here together so we can do this quickly. This is that new shimmery black embossing. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, it's just beautiful. All right, so let's put our Versamark here. And let's come down on our, where's our embossing powder? Never fails when you think you've got everything ready to do these films. You're always forgetting something, I know. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp this on. Right there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and drizzle this on and see how pretty that is. Make sure we got a good coverage there. I think that looks good. We'll get our little brush out and get rid of some of the extras there. I always like to keep a little paintbrush handy and get rid of any of the little extras that might, like in this case where I had kind of pushed down on that one leaf. I didn't think it was catching, and it caused it to kind of double up there. So let's go ahead and get that off. And okay, I think we got it. I think that looks good. Okay, let's go ahead and heat this up, and I'll probably take and speed this up during this process. One of the things I did find, though, before I speed this up, using the sparkling, even the white, it seems to take longer, and when you think that you've got it just about done, it seems like all of a sudden you don't, you know. So be real careful with that, because I've ruined a few pieces by hastening it a little bit. So just make sure that you've heated it, you can see that it's melted, you got a nice shimmer before you start touching it in watercoloring. To keep your paper wet, so that whenever you are watercoloring, it will kind of just spread for you. So I'm going to use my aqua painter, and I'm going to go into the areas and just wet it real well. Make sure you have a rag handy, and I'm just kind of doing it in the center there. So it's kind of pulled some water right there at the center. Went to grab me a towel, and half my desk wanted to fall off. The stuff on my desk anyway. Okay, so I'm using Blushing Bride. That's one of the colors I like to use with the Magnolia set. And I'm wanting it to be very pale and just a shadow of that color. If you feel like you get a little bit too much, then just dab off some of the water. And you're just wanting to dab this on so that it just blends in. Okay, because you can always come back a little bit and add some more darkness if you want some, you know, color in it like that. But I just wanted a hint of the color in there, not anything very starking. So let's go ahead and get us some more of the Blushing Bride. And something I've been doing since I've been replacing all of my old stamp pads with the new ones, and of course with the new ones you want to make sure that you get some of that ink from the new one. You don't want to be mixing. You can use your new one on your old pad, but you can't use the new reinkers on your old I'll get it out. The old reinkers on your new pads. So you might want to keep that in mind. What I'm doing with my old reinkers is putting them into a little box, and I'm going to use them for my watercoloring. Instead of smashing the boxes like this, I can just drop the droplets and use it in the watercoloring. So I think that's all the blushing that I want to do to the shading of the flower there. So let's go ahead and close this up, and let's bring a touch of yellow in just for the center of the magnolia. And I still have some of my water, so I'm just kind of dopping it on there. And since you can't see any of the yellow in there, we won't worry about that area, and that's all we needed. It's just a little dollop. Okay, so now we need to get into our leaves. So I'm pressing the water out. And if you notice, I've got a little bit of yellow coming out, so you have to be careful with that and make sure you've cleaned your brush real well. But that's all right, because I'm working with green, it will come out just fine. Okay, so I want to do these leaves before I start messing with the other ones. And I'm going to start with the Mossy Meadow, the darker one, and let it kind of just hopefully pull in just like that. See, I'm just touching. I'm not really having to color anything. I'm letting it take its natural flow and daubing it where, and if you get any of your colors where they don't want to, where they shouldn't be, I should say, just kind of dab it off real quick. And if you need to, you can come back over. I'm going to come in here with just a little bit, got a little bit too much water going, but again, you can dab it off. You don't have to keep that much of a pool of water on there. So now, because I'm going to be adding water, I'm rinsing my brush out and squeezing water into it. So now I can come in with just the little bit of water that I need here on the leaves. And sometimes like this, when I get a little bit too much, I just bring my brush back without squeezing on it, and it usually takes off just the right amount of the water so that you won't have too much excess. But see how pretty that just kind of goes up into the vein of the leaves and stuff. Now we're going to come back with and just touch it up with the lighter Pear Pizzazz. I like Mossy Meadow and Pear Pizzazz together. I think they're two pretty colors together. And there again, I'm just kind of dabbing some of the Pear Pizzazz in the lighter areas and letting some of the white kind of show behind. That way you've got your highlights and your darks. Okay. I like that. I think that's pretty like that. So I don't think we'll mess anymore. But as you can see, that's really a fast way of doing this. And once this dries real well, I'll come back with it with a little bit of my Wink of Stella, and that'll really bring up that. Now, if we want to hasten this one, which we need to for the film, I'm going to bring in my heat tool again just to kind of dry it up. Okay, and I feel like the edging needs a little something, so I think what I'm going to do is bring in my Sierra Sand, and I've got a piece of sponge over here. We'll just bring this over. and just bring some sponging around the edges. Okay. Because sometimes Sierra Sand to me has almost a green undertone to it. So that's what seems to be coming out today, it looks like. It's more of the greenish colors instead of the browns. It's kind of a light olive. It just depends on what you're doing with it at the time. Okay. So I think that looks nice like that. Let's go ahead and layer this on to this piece here. So let's go ahead and get our glue out. I had a new one over there I hadn't opened yet, so I don't want to spend the time unsealing it to get it going. So it looks like we had enough in this one, so that's good. Alright, so let's go ahead and place this down. Just like that. Okay, and so this is dry enough now that we can bring our Wink Estella on top of it. The colors are coming out just gorgeous. All right. Pretty, pretty. It's beautiful. Okay. Now, another thing I like to do is just bring in a little bit of shading behind the flower, now that we've kind of got it there and I can see it. So I'm bringing some smoky slate in, and I just want it very, 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 very light. And so what I'm going to do is put just a small smidgen of some water right around where I plan on putting the smoky slate. And this just kind of, to me, adds to the essence of the watercoloring.
Etsy is a place to find new favorites. The things that last beyond the latest trends and become the belongings that we hold on to.
Sorry about that. My mouse must have moved on my computer and it started talking. Alright. That shadow just really adds to it. Is to go ahead and get our Hello stamp out of here, and let's put it, I think it will fit right here in this corner. Yep, there we go. We'll put it right there, and I think we'll use the memento for that. And we could have embossed it too, would have been pretty, but I think that I want to leave just the flower with the shimmery black embossing. Okay, this looks good. So let's go ahead and do that next. I love these fonts that they've been bringing out in these newer stamp sets, and especially in this Magnolia. It's beautiful. Perfect. Looks gorgeous. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this card up. We got to put something inside, so let's go ahead and go to our inside piece. Whenever I seem to lose things like that. Here's my inside piece. Set that aside to dry a little bit. And I think we're going to come in with the one from the Well Said, which is just simple, and I haven't put all of my backings on my stamp, so it might not be as easy as I think to find it. Sending, unless this is it. Ah, look at that. I already have it on there. Surprise, surprise. Okay. Make sure I get this straight, and I could be using my Stamparatus, which would probably be a good idea, but to make it a little bit faster, and since I haven't got it set up yet, we'll just play it by ear and hope that I get it right the first time. But there's always the other side if I don't, so we'll just see what we come up with. I'm from some reason getting a lot of shadowing tonight with my lights. I must not have them in the right directions, but hopefully it's not. Looks good. Okay, so now we're going to come back, and I want to stamp that this particular one I used on the front. I want to again bring that to the back with the Sierra Sand, and this way we've got a the same pattern kind of coming out all the way. So we're going to stamp it there. Gorgeous. And it doesn't need any coloring, just its natural self. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so we're going to leave that like that. Set that aside and put this on the inside, and then we'll get the ribbon on and we'll wrap this card right up. So is everybody getting excited about the holiday catalog coming out pretty soon? I know I am. Always look forward to that holiday catalog. Ribbon up here. And what we're going to do with this ribbon, if some of y'all may have seen this, I don't remember which of the demonstrators showed it, but one of my downlines actually told me about it, and I really like the way it comes out because it makes little tassels. So what you do is you just cut off this bottom piece here, and I like to save it because it can be used as another trim on something else. But you make yourself some little tassels hanging from the top of this. So let's go ahead and trim this off, and you'll see what I mean here in just a second. Okay, so by trimming this off, see how I got the little tassels there? Isn't that precious? And so we'll take and glue that on at the top there. And this is what I was talking about. You'll be able to bring this little piece into another project, and you get little tiny babies. And what I would, baby tassels. And what I'd probably do is kind of trim up this top where I was a little bit uneven there. And yeah, it'd be beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that aside. This is that new Sierra Sand ribbon. It's called Woven Threads Trim. Okay. And all of the measurements and supplies that you need to make this card will be on my blog. So if you're watching this from my YouTube channel, then I would suggest going ahead and going on over to my blog, and that way you can see all the measurements and supplies that I used for it. In there to give it just a little bit of a shimmer and a shading within the petals. Oh yeah, that's real pretty. I never know until I see the films how much of the shimmer that I can see doing the film, you know, on the card, how much you can see from the film. So hopefully you're getting the same effects. I know it's never the same as getting to see it in person. They're always so much more bright and beautiful that way. So there we are. So here's our get well, hello, and sending healing thoughts your way. That's a wrap. All right, until next time, God bless you and happy stamping.